Howdy, gang, and welcome to yet another Apples and Oranges. Tonight's topic will be Kane Hodder's outrageous ousting from Freddy versus Jason. This is something I've kind of wanted to talk about for a while. Some people might say, well, gee, Dana, that's old news. Hey, Blissful. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's been a few years, right? But I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I mean, Kane Hodder has talked about it, obviously. Um, I think I think Robert England may have talked about it a little bit. But before we get started with the topic of discussion, I did invite Chris, but it's kind of iffy now whether Chris will be able to be on. He is very busy. He and Candace are doing some maintenance on their house, and they have their nephews with them, and that makes things very busy. So if he pops in here, that will be wonderful. I will add him. If not, I will talk as long as I can about the topic at hand and then get off here. Hopefully, it won't storm. It was rumbling thunder out there a little bit earlier. Um, I, Pap, you say if Kane was in VS, there would be no VS. Oh, versus movie. Um, well, I guess that's a possibility, Pap. Um, I don't know. From my point of view, I think it would have been an excellent idea, but we'll get into that here in just a second. Um, thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Um, but get a few housekeeping things out of the way first, and then we'll get started with the topic. So, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, normally I would either be doing a Seductive Poison, The Resurgence, probably a triple threat review show, or I would be doing the I Know What You Shot on Video. But because tomorrow is the 4th of July, I'm going to do a special show and we're going to be talking about explosive horror films. So I've got to pick a few of those to talk about. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night, unless you're, of course, enjoying fireworks, which I totally understand that. Um, and Friday will be a double dose of me. The second dose, I will be joined by Candace. But before me and Candace entertain you with Friday Foolish, there will be a Terror Time tea at about 11:45 Eastern Time. And I took off Friday so I could have a 4-day weekend. Um, so shouldn't be any snafus with me being able to get on here at 11:45, hopefully. But for Terror Time Tea, I will be talking about Slaughterhouse and Kevin Tenney's Witch Trap. So, Friday Foolish at 1 p.m. Eastern Time will be me and Candace talking about our favorite summer based movies. And this is not just going to be horror movies, it'll be other genres of movies as well. So be sure to tune in for that at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, we have a double dose of Robert England because I'm going to be celebrating the 40th anniversary of the original Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. And the watch along for Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time will be the original Nightmare on Elm Street, no remakes. And Sunday's watch along, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So be sure to join me for both of those if you can. I also have a cake that I'm going to be celebrating with um, for the 40th anniversary. So we're gonna have cake, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna have watch-alongs. It's gonna be a fantastic weekend, I hope. Anyway, as I said on the last few streams, I am taking a few months break from the movie Munchies so I can rest and recharge and come back hopefully all the better for it. Also, um, oh, I almost forgot what I was going to say. The brain is going. I did turn 48 this year. So, also, in the description for this video, and I hope if I can remember to put all of this in the descriptions for all the upcoming streams, I have opened a Discord. The link, the invite is in the description for this video in case you're wanting to join. I know some of you aren't big on Discord, and I totally understand that if you don't want to join. But there's several different topics of discussion that are available in there if you decide that that's something that you want to do. I also am advertising my Deadites on Deck shop. In the description for the video or the stream, you will find the Deadites on Deck .com website, which will take you to my shop where I've got all kinds of unique and cool horror merchandise. So we've got t-shirts. We're soon going to have hats and tumblers and coffee mugs. And we have Booga Booga Bears. And if you don't know what a Booga Booga Bear is, you can check it out on the site. If you're still not sure, let me show you a little visual, guys and gals. I still have not got mine ready. You will not get a bear that looks exactly like this one, but you will get a similar teddy bear with whatever you want on the shirt. So if it's a horror movie poster or something like that that you want, or if it's an original design that you want to send me and see if I can put it on the shirt, you are welcome to do so. I am doing custom orders now on the shop. So be sure to check all of that out. I'm going to soon have a Patreon for Deadites on Deck for my channel. And I've got to do a little more work on it. I didn't quite have it done in time for this stream. Okay. So, and I am also eating soup tonight. I kind of had a light dinner. So just bear with me. So, all right. If anybody comes in and would like to join me on here discussing the topic at hand, feel free to say, hey, Dana, I want to come on. And I will be glad to get the link to you. If you're my friend on Facebook, I will send it to you through Messenger. If you are not, I can put it in the chat for you. So let's get started here. So we've got a couple of you in the chat there. Thank you, Blissful. Thank you, Pat. There's also 8 or 9 people watching, or probably 7 people watching. Again, I don't like to say lurking because that has bad connotations, or for me anyway. But I want to thank everybody for coming in to hear me, probably by myself, talk about Kane Hodder not being asked to return as Jason Voorhees for Freddy versus Jason. Okay. So I was very shocked when I found out because I just assumed, like a lot of other people, that Kane would be returning as Jason Voorhees. And I'll be totally honest with everybody, Kane was my Jason Voorhees. Because I grew up watching the Friday the 13th films in the 80s. And, for a while, for the first few films, there was a different guy, whether it be a stunt man or an actor stunt man or just an actor, and they had to have additional scenes with a stunt man. It always changed. But that changed with Friday the 13th Part 7. And Kane Hodder came, and you may be able to hear fireworks. I just heard something right now. Thunder and lightning, probably hail and wind, a tornado, whatever, would not keep people around here from setting off fireworks. So hopefully I won't jump because sometimes they startle me. But so that was my introduction to Kane Hodder as Jason. And then I got an introduction to Fangoria magazine and Gorzone magazine through my cousin Jim Bob. Yes, I have a cousin named Jim Bob. I also have a cousin named Jed. I live in Kentucky. I grew up in Western Kentucky. Now I live in, I guess you would call it North Central Kentucky in Louisville. But I'm a country girl through and through. So, yes, I did have a cousin named Jim Bob and one named Jed. And people can laugh if they want, that's fine. Um, but so my cousin Jim Bob, he was into horror movies as I was. We both loved them. So my first introduction to horror magazines like Fangoria and Gorzone came through Jim Bob. Because one day we were both visiting my granny at the same time, and he had this humongous stack of Fangorias and Gorzones, and I was in heaven, being the voracious horror fan that I was. And so I started leafing through one and came across this article on the face of Jason Voorhees, and they showed Kane Hodder, and I believe there was an interview with him. And from then on out, Kane Hodder was in every Friday the 13th film. That was until Freddy versus Jason. But I think everybody pretty much, there may have been some people that weren't sure of this, but everybody that I knew pretty much was expecting that Kane Hodder would step into the role as Jason Voorhees once again, and Robert Englund would step into the role of Freddy Krueger. It was a dream team up or versus or whatever you want to call it, a battle of the wheels. But eventually, rumbling started that Kane Hodder was not going to be in Freddy versus Jason. And I was like, what? You got to be kidding me. So there were a lot of rumors that went around as to why Kane Hodder was not, in the end, asked to portray Jason Voorhees again. Some of the rumors going around that I heard were that they were afraid that Kane would hurt Robert Englund because of the stature of Robert Englund versus the stature of Kane Hodder. I also heard they wanted to try somebody different. They wanted to try somebody that was a little smaller in stature than Kane, so that it wouldn't look ridiculous, I guess. I don't know. But there were several different rumors going around, but I don't think anybody has ever including Kane Hodder, heard the unvarnished truth about this. And so I watched a great documentary on Kane Hodder called To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story. And I absolutely love it. I've watched it several times since receiving it. Um, and Kane Hodder does talk about that. In addition, he talks about the accident that caused him to be badly burned over the majority of his body. And if you've ever met Kane Hodder, you'll notice burn scars on his arms and stuff. Because generally, he's at when he's at conventions, he's got a short sleeve shirt on, right? And he usually wears gloves. When I met him several years ago, that's the way he was dressed. Um, and I believe he had a hatchet, which was another movie that he was in after Freddy versus Jason. Um, that where he got to play a um, different killer, I guess you could say. Um, so he talks about that. And I will tell you, it's very emotional for Kane to talk about the accident. He didn't talk about how this happened for years. He would tell people it was, on this movie or that movie. And finally, for this documentary and for the book as well, he revealed for the first time ever how that burn happened. But he talks about that, but eventually he gets to talking about the whole Freddy versus Jason fiasco, as I would call it. So he says that he was given the script early on and everything was going to plan. Nobody said that there were any grumblings or rumblings or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, uh, sorry, we're going with somebody else. We're going with somebody that has played Jason before in the past. And that turned out to be Ken Kersinger, who was a fellow stuntman of Kane Hodder's. Now, how that had to hurt, I can only imagine. Um, but um, I would, those are my initial thoughts. I think it was wrong. I think it was dirty to do that to someone, to let someone believe that they were going to um, be able to step in the shoes of this character again. Um, and not give them any warning just at the last minute. You pull the rug out from under them. And that I believe that this caused Kane Hodder to go into a little bit of a depression. They tried to make light of it on the Holliston show. I don't know how many of y'all have watched the Holliston show. Um, it's a pretty decent show. I enjoyed it. Not only Kane Hodder has been on several episodes, but Danielle Harris as well. Um, and so they tried to make light of it, and that was probably the best thing for Kane at the time, that they made light of it on Holliston. But again, I think it was dirty the way Kane Hodder was done and treated, and just just out of the blue, basically. Sorry, I know we gave you the script and everything and let you believe that you were going to play Jason again, but guess what? We're getting somebody else. Um, I feel like Kane created the character of Jason and made him what he became. Now, some people may say, well, Tom Savini created the character of Jason, or Ari Lehman, who is a very competent actor and did a very good job at the end of Friday the 13th, rising up out of the lake as the young Jason. But I feel like Kane Hodder was the one that gave a personality to Jason Voorhees. He had a particular look, a particular stance he had, and he just became Jason Voorhees. When he put on the mask, when he put on the costume, um, he became that character. And Kane Hodder was so enamored of that character that he had the word kill tattooed on the inside, like right here. If he pulls down his lower lip, you can see kill tattooed there. So this was a character that he had portrayed for several movies, had improved upon. No other actor slash stuntman had done that until Kane Hodder for the Jason Voorhees character. So I would love Blissful, Pat. Y'all are the ones talking in the chat. I'd love to hear what, Pap, if you're still in here, I'd love to hear what y'all think. I know Pap had that initial comment uh, that if Kane was in there would be no Versus movie. Um, Probably because, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, that maybe Pat believes that Jason, or if Kane was playing Jason, he would take Freddy out very quickly. Um, Have you say that you read that Kane was pet peevy and micromanaging, saying things like Jason would never do this about the Versus script? Well, and I appreciate you putting that up there. And it could have been that Kane was saying and doing those things. But in his defense, I would just like to say that coming from a man that has played Kane Hodder, or played Kane Hodder, played Jason Voorhees as many times as Kane Hodder had, I think he had developed his own style with the character, his own backstory for the character. And therefore, maybe that's why he seemed pet peevy and micromanaging things. Um, I don't know, but I appreciate your comment though, Pat. I just wanted to counter that because that's what I like to do with these apples and oranges. That we have a good, healthy debate. Blissful, do you have anything? Blissful may have stepped away for a phone call. I know sometimes she has to. Um, and but I would love to hear what you think, Blissful. I'm not for sure if you've seen Freddy versus Jason. But I'd like to get a little discussion going because otherwise, it's raining now, I believe. Um, I would like to get some discussion going because I don't want to sit here and be umming and ahhing, and I'll probably have to end this in a little bit if we don't get some discussion. Have you say actors and characters that get bigger than the movie, etc., usually won't get a part in the movie. Again, I respect your comment there, but there have been many. I mean, I'm not saying Robert England was got too big for his britches or anything, but I think the when Robert England played Freddy Krueger, that character grew with each succeeding movie. As and Robert England played Freddy Krueger from the beginning. Kane Hodder did not come in until the seventh Friday the 13th movie. So, how do you feel about somebody like Robert Englund who played them from the beginning? Do you think that that is better? If Robert Englund had said, "Hey, Freddy Krueger wouldn't do that," would you feel the same about him saying that? Um, or would you feel differently? I guess that is a question I'd like to pose. The thunder's getting a little louder, guys and gals, so you can probably hear it. I may have no choice but to get off of here in a little bit if it gets any worse. But I think I do agree to some extent, Pat, though, that Kane Hodder is, I don't know how I can say this without it coming off sounding obnoxious or like I don't like Kane Hodder. Um, Kane Hodder has a certain attitude um, about him that maybe people take the wrong way. I yeah, I mean that is a very good comment, Pat. You say you think Robert was actually Freddy more so than Kane was Jason. Robert actually looks like Freddy and vice versa. Yeah, I think we had a discussion at one time, and I think other people have had discussions at some time or another about Robert England. Um, the thing about Freddy Freddy's look versus Jason's look is a lot of times Jason's look is hidden by a mask. Robert England had a lot of makeup on, but Robert England um, shone through. Some part of Robert England shone through the Freddy makeup. You could see it in the eyes and all of that. You still got to see the facial structure. Um, Ted White is Jason Voorhees for you, and that is cool. I really like your comments, Pap, and I appreciate you interjecting them into this conversation. Um, it, that's what I no Robert, no Freddie. I totally agree with you on there, as evident by the the terrible remake, who I love Jackie Earl Haley, but he was not a good Freddy. He was simply not Freddy. No one else could play Freddy but Robert England, for me anyway. But I feel that you're exactly right on that, Pap. I agree totally. No Robert, no Freddy. Um, and if they hadn't gotten Robert England, I shudder to think what the movie would have become. You know, in fact, on part two, I think it was early on part two. Oh, that's okay, Blissful. I'm going to ask you something here in just a second. Um, I think early on part two, they were thinking of just sticking just a stuntman, not a stuntman slash actor or anything, in the part as Freddy, and it just didn't work. It just simply did not work. And I think the word was that the producers or something at that time didn't want to pay Robert England, which I'd be like, pay Robert England, come on, you know. But Blissful, me and Pap have been having a nice discussion about Kane Hodder being or not being in Freddy versus Jason. So I'm not sure, Blissful. I can't remember if you have seen Freddy versus Jason. But if you have, or if you have any thoughts about it, what are your thoughts about them? Uh, pretty much ousting Kane Hodder from playing Jason Voorhees and putting Ken Kersinger in there. I'd love to know your thoughts too, because you and Pap are the ones that are actually in the chat right now. Oh, I was also saying I probably have to get off of here soon because the thunder is getting a little bit louder, and who knows if we'll lose power or what. But I know it was blazing hot today. Um, you say the physical presence was different and off in versus. Um, how so? Did you think that it hurt the film, Blissful? Do you think it was a major detriment to the film as a whole? One of these days, I'm gonna get Blissful on camera on here. I would love to had her on here tonight, but I don't think she's quite ready. Yeah, Dana's probably gonna have to get on here a little bit. You say it took away from the film. I feel that too. That it definitely did take some. I think we needed that dark force to be reckoned with that Kane always carried with him in the Friday the 13th films. But Blissful Pap, I hate to or anybody else that's watching, I hate to get off of here, but I think things are gonna get wound up. Y'all can hear that thunder again. Um, so I'm gonna call this one an early night. I hate to do this because we probably could have had a little bit more of a conversation. But be sure to tune in tomorrow night. Thank you, Blissful. I will try my best to stay safe. But tomorrow night, I will be talking about explosive horror films to help you celebrate the 4th of July. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm off like a dirty shirt, but I want to remind everybody, as I always do, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday, guys and gals, and I will see everybody next time.